I've got these two Dana 60 axles that are going underneath the LiJ. They came out of two very different rigs, but they're both Dana 60s. I'm building both of them. The only problem is their bolt patterns don't match. In today's video, we're gonna fix that. Hey folks, it's Nate, and I know I haven't been making a lot of videos lately, but here's why. A month ago or so, I took a couple of weeks off of work around the holidays, and I decided it was time to dive in deep with the axle swap underneath the LiJ. That is the LJ with the YJ grill. You guys are familiar with it. That's probably the last serious videos that I've made. It was when I painted it and I put on the grill. That was last winter. Here we are again next winter. So today what I'm working on is I have two axles that I'm putting into the Jeep, obviously, front and rear. The front is a Super Duty Dana 60, and the rear is a Dana 60 out of an older Ford pickup, like an early 90s, late 80s Ford pickup. They have two different bolt patterns. The Super Duty 60, if you're familiar with those axles, has a metric bolt pattern, and then the rear Dana 60 has a standard 8-lug bolt pattern that so many people are familiar with. The, what is it, 8 on 6.5? So obviously I need to make those match, otherwise I'm going to have to carry around two spares with me everywhere I go, or my fronts will never match the rears or whatever. Obviously the way to make them match is you have to either buy really expensive hubs for the front 60, for the Super Duty 60 from Timken, or you can re-drill the ones that you have. Now the unit bearings that came with my Super Duty 60 are in okay shape. I mean, I could probably replace them. I probably wouldn't regret it if I replaced them, but they're not exactly cheap, so I figure I'm going to try to use them. So on today's video, what I wanted to cover was basically how this jig that I bought works. I bought a jig from Offroad Anonymous. They're a place that's very similar to Barnes 4-Wheel Drive, where they sell these pre-cut things. You know, they've got a plasma table. They produce a whole bunch of things that you can buy and weld together at home, a bunch of DIY style stuff. This project is full of a mixture of TMR, Barnes, and Offroad Anonymous parts. So, you know, I'm kind of interchanging them as whoever has what I need in stock at the time. So in this case, I only bought the Offroad Anonymous one because they had it in stock and Barnes didn't. Barnes' kit is a similar concept, but it's a little bit different. So, and a lot of people have covered the Barnes kit. In fact, we just saw a Dirt Lifestyle video like a week and a half ago where they did the Barnes kit. So now I'm going to show you the Offroad Anonymous kit. So this is the unit bearing from my Super Duty Dana 60. Let me talk for just a second about the huge upgrade that these things are compared to, this is the unit bearing from my Dana 30. I mean, just look at that. Just look at that. That's insane. That is insane. Look how tiny this stub shaft is compared to that one. I mean, that's crazy. Just look how much. I cannot wait till these axles are in the Jeep. It's going to open up a whole new avenue of... So this is a bad one. See how easy that spins? This was in my scrap pile. And you can almost hear it. You can hear the play in it. This one is good and tight still. Okay, anyway. So the way the kit works is you have this jig. You've got a bunch of these wheel stud sized holes already, and then a bunch of 1/4-inch holes that are in the middle of them. What you do is you line up the jig using the existing wheel studs, and then you drill using a drill press through each one of these holes using these as a pilot. Now obviously the way this is designed, you can imagine if you're doing this a lot, you're eventually going to bore these things out and they're not going to be as accurate. But this thing was not that expensive. I'll have to look up the actual price to tell you exactly how expensive it was, but it was not bad. And the cool thing is, etched on here, I don't know if you can see that, are essentially the drill bits you're going to need. It tells you right up here at the top, pre-drill each one of these to 1/4 inch. That's what these holes are for. And then you bore them out. So for the unit bearing, you bore it out to 19/32. And for the rotor, which of course if you're going to re-drill the unit bearing, you need to re-drill your rotor too, you re-drill those to 13/16. So where this kit differs from the Barnes four-wheel drive kit is Barnes has you bolt the jig in place, and then there's like a collar that you then drill through. This one, you put the jig in place, it fits up with the existing metric bolt pattern, and then you have all these 1/4-inch holes that line up with the 8x6.5 bolt pattern. What you do is you pre-drill all the 1/4-inch holes, and once those are drilled, you take the jig off, and then you bore them out to, I think it's a 19/32. And then what I did wrong here was I also drilled the rotor the same way. I pre-drilled all of them at 1/4-inch, and then I bored them out to 13/16, which is what it says on the jig that you're supposed to drill them out to. What I figured out later was that actually what you're supposed to do is just bore out the existing holes in the rotor to 13/16. But I don't think this is going to be a problem. It just means that I did a little bit of extra work. And if it is a problem, I can just ditch these rotors and get new ones, because these are the ones that came with the axle anyway. So, fair warning, you're about to do a lot of drilling. So what I did is I have ear protection made by Walker. They're active noise canceling, but they also have Bluetooth. So I basically paired them to my phone. I listened to an audiobook while I was doing this. Sometimes it'll be music, sometimes it's a podcast. Today it was a novel. I stopped frequently to add some cutting oil to the hole as I was going, and I cleared out the metal shavings. You're going to end up with a ton of metal shavings. You're going to have to clean off the whole work area when you're done. I had a shop vac handy, and after I finished the first one, I had so many metal shavings, that is the first hub, that I just had to vacuum my whole area and start again. Once these are all drilled out, of course, the next thing you need to do is take it all apart, and then you have to get the existing wheel studs out of the unit bearing. You could do this a couple of ways. The first one I did, I basically set the whole thing down on the shop floor, and I used a brass hammer to hammer them out. And unfortunately, in doing that, I boogered up the threads on the studs that are on the back of the unit bearing that bolted up to the knuckle. I'm going to have to fix that before I can install the unit bearing. On the other one, I got a little bit smarter, and I decided to use my press. So basically, it's a little tricky to try to get this whole unit bearing into a press to both remove the wheel studs and then put them back in. Now, before you can put these wheel studs back in, you need to clearance the shoulder on the part of the unit bearing that would be mounting to the knuckle, because now that the bolt pattern is just slightly smaller, you won't be able to clear that housing anymore. So what I did is I took a grinder with a flap disc on it. Maybe you could use something like a die grinder, but I don't have one of those. But I just carefully ground it down using the flap disc so that I could fit the wheel stud in on just that one spot. Now, I normally seat wheel studs with an impact gun and a lug nut or something with a spacer. That would not work here. All I really did was waste a bunch of time and ruin one of my misalignment spacers by using it or abusing it as a spacer for the wheel stud. So I had to get smart and use the press. But what I had to do was I had to cook up this crazy situation where I used a piece of Dom tubing, because that would go around the entire hole. And then I used some blocks of wood to sort of support the unit bearing while I was getting everything set up, because it's really unwieldy to try to do this thing. And then I had to use an extension from my impact sockets to reach down to the back of the wheel stud, and then I used the press to push it in. Now, I didn't do any major damage to that extension. However, it did mushroom slightly to the point where I had to shave it down a little bit to get it to fit back into the sockets that it's supposed to fit into. So, probably not the best use of my socket extension, but whatever, I got the job done. And that's really it. Once you have everything back together, you now have an 8x6.5 bolt pattern in your existing Ford Super Duty Dana 60 unit bearings. Folks, thanks for watching, and if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll probably have more stuff coming as I get through this axle swap project. And remember, get out there and wheel. I'll catch you in the next one.